And these Christian missionaries, the ones who actually go and teach Christianity and Western values to these blacks, are in a number of cases actually prime targets for the black communists. It's kind of ironic, but that happened in Rhodesia quite a lot. So this is where this business of going and teaching the blacks, and now we're going to teach them civilization, and they're all going to be on our side. No, you do not understand. Will to power, will to power. Once the blacks realize that they can be the boss, they're going to come and slit your throat, man, even if you were a missionary, even if you went and taught them all these things. These things have happened to so many missionaries. In the Belgian Congo, there were hundreds of missionaries that were caught by the blacks. And in some cases, troops had to come and save them. In other cases, they were killed. These white missionaries who are alone among these blacks, they are taking risks that are crazy. And I personally don't believe that doing mission work for these blacks is a good thing. Teaching them about the Bible and all that. I don't think any of this stuff is good. We must stop teaching the blacks things about ourselves and our society. We are actually creating problems for ourselves. And now you've got these Christians, and they're busy telling the blacks, well, you see, we're all equal in the eyes of God, and we're all going to go to heaven. Oh, man. Now there you are. Previously, the black was scared of you. He respected you. Now you're busy telling him he's equal to you. Next thing you know, he's going to come and want to sleep with your wife. I'm not joking in these things. This is how it happens. These things happen, and I can show you more examples. Very dangerous. So Christian missionaries, really, the churchmen and the missionaries, they are responsible for a lot of problems too. They don't stir total hatred like the communists, but they do create lots of problems. They do indeed. And if you want to look at South Africa is probably the best example of all of the worthlessness of teaching these blacks Christian values. Truly, you must see some of the things that happen in South Africa. And you must see the churchmen that come out of it. The moment that these black churchmen start getting publicity, they turn on the whites. They start telling the whites, no, but you did wrong. You did wrong in this thing. You did wrong in that thing. Next thing you know, man, they turn on you. You've taught them about God, and next thing is they use the authority of God and their knowledge of the Bible, and they tell you, listen, you are wrong. And now you got that thing happening. Oh, the black Christians in Africa, they're a whole other story. I could talk about that as a separate topic, I must tell you. And all of it's bad. All of it is bad for whites. These black Christians turn out to be totally hopeless. They turn out to be totally hopeless and useless as allies. They never defend whites. They never stand by whites. The violent communists do anything they want with the black Christians. They control them easily. So what you end up with is all these black Christians who are basically unarmed and weakling cowards. And you've got this bunch of weakling cowards who do nothing but talk on your side, while they are easily controlled and manipulated by the violent blacks on their side, who also kill them at will. They are so useless. You end up having to defend the black Christians from the black communists who would otherwise kill them. And when you defend the black Christians, then you find you've got to look after them and protect them, and they're not even properly on your side. They're busy telling you where you're wrong, and the whole thing's just a mess. It's just such a mess. It's truly a load of rubbish. I can show you examples in Rhodesia, South Africa, where bringing Christianity to these blacks, and then turning around and saying to these blacks, now we're brothers in Jesus, and we're brothers in Christianity. Let's stand together against communism. Oh, what a load of rubbish. It doesn't work. Been there, done that, had a look at it. Total waste of time. Wasting your time. In fact, in my lecture, 50 Years of Race War in Southern Africa, I actually told people that one of the lessons from our many wars is that the only blacks who were useful as allies, and this may shock you, are the communists. The black communists who were taught to kill and torture, they actually became the best allies we had of all. The Christians were absolutely nowhere to be seen. Christians were useless, pathetic, weak, and like I say, you got to protect them. Then they're not even fully on your side. They're busy preaching to you, telling you where you're wrong. No, man, that was all junk. But if you look at actual blacks who helped us, black communists who'd been taught how to kill and torture, when they came to our side, they were the best allies we had. Because they would go out and they'd go and kill other blacks for you. And they wouldn't sit and pussyfoot around. Whereas the Christians are just like this group that just talk and talk and talk and talk, and they're weak and pathetic, and you've got to protect them. And the moment that you don't protect them and someone else is holding a gun to their head, then they're on the other side. Oh, God, they're useless. Just total waste of time. Christianity for the blacks, leave it alone. Dump a whole bunch of Bibles there for them to read themselves and stay away from them. These missionaries not only teach them to read and write, and they teach them all kinds of other things. They give them medicines. They help them solve their problems. They are doing all kinds of things. They're keeping them alive. They're doing all sorts of things for them. They're saving the babies at childbirth and so on. Oh, it's a terrible thing. They are just sitting there strengthening your enemy. That's all they're doing. And then, once you've put a whole bunch of ideas into the heads of the blacks, the next thing you know is if the blacks realize that they can get rid of you and they can be in charge, then they'll come and they'll slit your throat, man. Let me continue. At the same time, troops and settlers united in a widespread campaign against churchmen, because it was rumored that missionaries and ministers had fomented the revolution by urging the blacks to seek reforms. See, you're scoring goals against your own side needlessly. The government itself subscribed to this theory and had hundreds of churchmen arrested and deported. In the upcountry, such formalities were discarded. Ministers who had worked with Africans were simply shot or beaten, and their churches were burned. So here you have white Portuguese troops and civilians shooting ministers and burning down churches. Christians shooting Christian ministers and burning down Christian churches. Think about that. And I should add that in our wars in southern Africa, organizations like the World Council of Churches gave money, food, etc. to black communist terrorists who fought us. The World Council of Churches, man. Christians, big, high-ranking Christian organizations, openly gave weapons and funds to black communists who would go and kill white people. What a waste of time this was. What a negative thing this was. And then the racist Christians on our side can't understand why the other Christians in the rest of the world are helping the blacks to come and kill us. Really, this is just an example of all the complicated, needless problems that come out of all of this stuff. Stop educating these blacks. I cannot repeat this enough. The best thing you can probably do is dump a bunch of Bibles in front of them and tell them, read those Bibles. Go away and read the Bibles, and leave it at that. That's probably the best thing you can do. And there are many reasons for saying that. Let's continue. This time, PIDE and the police did not just watch, they took part. So PIDE and the police were also taking part in the killing of ministers. Now, what I'm not sure of, it doesn't say it here, but it says ministers who had worked with Africans. This sounds to me like we're looking at Portuguese, whites. We're looking at white ministers who'd worked with blacks who were killed. So whites are killing white ministers who'd worked with the blacks. And personally, I agree with that. Definitely. Big problems come out of this business of teaching the blacks religion and blah, blah, blah. Leave them alone, man. This time, PIDE and the police did not just watch, they took part. They instituted a series of vicious pogroms against the Africans, particularly those who were educated. Let me pause there. I like this. This is another problem. You go and you educate these blacks, and they turn on you. In fact, if you go and you look at literally every single one of the black leaders who went and fought against the whites, literally every single one of them went to schools and universities run by whites. In fact, here's a shocking fact. Because South Africa is like the America of Africa, and South Africa had the best education system and the most universities, you will be shocked at the number of black leaders across Africa who actually came to South Africa, to apartheid South Africa, and got themselves a university education in apartheid South Africa. Then they went out and they started wars against whites elsewhere. Education. I'm telling you, don't teach these people anything. Don't give them our knowledge. Don't educate them. Don't give them weapons. Don't teach them about human rights. Leave these people the hell alone. If you leave these people the hell alone, they will muddle on in their own way, and their own methods don't work, and they start screwing up all kinds of things. Rather do that. Stop teaching these people. And people in America where whites are taught that, no, you must teach the blacks, teach all kinds of other people who are coming into the country. Those people that you are teaching and the skills that you're giving them, you're giving those people skills that they're going to use against you. You are creating your very own enemy. We whites, we should be keeping all our knowledge to ourselves. We shouldn't even allow these people into our libraries. I'm not joking with you. Shouldn't even allow these people into our libraries. They shouldn't even be reading our history. And here in South Africa, they had lots of us whites training the blacks who are going to replace us. Now those blacks have got our jobs and we don't have jobs. Man, liberalism is a scam, I tell you. You are being told to create your future enemy. You are even creating the future groups that are going to come and kill you and your children. Really, that's how this thing plays out.